control of them. Now, white people were not slaves, generally. There were white slaves, by the way. Don't get me wrong on that one. But generally, the people of the United States were not slaves. They were sovereign in their capacity. So now the thing is over the decades, from the 1850s to the 1950s, as they redid the curriculum and they pulled all that information out, what did they do? They transferred the people out of the capacity of people and into the capacity of citizen of the United States. That's what they taught you in the schools. So that now they're wrapping the whole population up as one great big supply of slaves. Okay? Public ownership. So, let's see, here we go. Free the slave was the rallying cry combined with the Civil War that resulted in the Amendment 14. Amendment 14 created a new class of person called citizen of the United States. Any ex-slave could now claim citizenship. And by the way, so could any of the people if they chose to do so. Amendment 14 made possible the voluntary relinquishment of personal sovereignty. So notice this. Now, to qualify for citizenship, you have to be born or naturalized and subject to the jurisdiction. If you meet that qualification, you are now a citizen of the United States. But look what they do now. They don't tell you that part of it. They don't teach you that in the schools. What they do teach you is they teach you to say you are a citizen of the United States. Pick anybody walking down the street and ask them, are you a citizen of the United States? And assuming he is, he will say yes, you know, not knowing that there's another class of human being in this country. So as a citizen of the United States, if you say you're a citizen of the United States, what are you saying? You're saying, I'm your subject. I'm subject to you, the government, or the United States, right? So that's the deal. Get you to say you're a citizen of the United States. If you look at the criminal proceedings these days, you look at those charges that they put together and they file with the courts, you'll see a couple of things on there. One of them is what? Social Security number, right? And the other thing you see on there is driver's license number if you have one. Or identification number, you know, the same system. Okay? What are they doing? They're identifying you as a citizen of the United States. You're subject. You're a publicly owned slave. And the judge, if you read the codes, if you look in the codes, it tells you right in there, in the California codes particularly, that strict interpretation as required by common law does not apply here. That the codes shall be interpreted so as to effect justice. Justice in whose opinion? Right? There is the key to the judge's discretion, because he's going to try and effect justice as he sees it, or as the policies of the state dictate it. So they carry out justice. And have you ever noticed the justice you get? Okay, well, anyhow, Amendment 14 is the key, okay? And here it says it right here. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state where they reside. Okay? There it is, right in the Constitution. Dual citizenship. Yes, that's right, dual citizenship. You're a citizen of the state and you're a citizen of the United States. They're de-emphasizing that. They've divided the, I've heard that the way they divided it was the intent was to have an equal distribution of the population, same number of people in each section. So the first digit of your zip code designates which one of the 10 districts you're in. And what the ultimate plan, of course, is to phase out the states and have just these 9 districts of the United States.
So are you a citizen of the United States?
Sometimes.
Are you a citizen
Sometimes.
of the United States?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yes, you see, here's the interesting thing, is that as a people, I'm in my sovereign capacity. As the owner of the business, if I choose, I can take a job as a janitor in my own business and let the manager tell me what to do, if I choose. But maybe I choose not. I say, hey, I quit. I've decided not to be a janitor anymore. I'm going back to ownership. I can do that anytime I want if I own the business, right? So when you're in your sovereign capacity, you can pick and choose when you want to be a citizen. So you can be a citizen for some purposes and not a citizen for other purposes. And I do that. I'm going to be right at the trough collecting my Social Security. Yep. For that purpose, I'm a citizen of the United States. Let me show you that. Let me show you the court case that backs me up on that. Okay? Let's go to sovereignty. All right? And let's see if I can find it the fast way. There it is. Okay. Well, messed up there. Let's go back up to the top. Okay. Now, there was a case where this Indian tribe, which is a sovereign nation, even though it's a conquered nation, the United States recognizes their sovereignty and lets them run their own affairs to some degree. And this Indian tribe went into a contract with a corporation where the corporation would bring in the equipment and mine a bunch of minerals out of the land and cart it off the land. And it was a partnership between the Indian tribe and the corporation, and they would split the profits. Okay? Had some formula for splitting it. So after all the equipment was installed and they had this going operation and the portions of the land were going out through the Indian gate, the Indian Council had a meeting, and remember, they're sovereign, and he said, you know, we need to lay onto this an extraction tax. So they're going to tax everything that's taken out of the land. Well, the company screamed to high heaven on that one, and it ended up in the Supreme Court. And this is what the Supreme Court said. It said, starting here, it is one thing to find that the tribe has agreed to sell the right to use the land and take valuable minerals from it, and quite another to find that the tribe has abandoned its sovereign powers simply because it has not expressly reserved them through a contract. To presume that a sovereign forever waives the right to exercise one of its powers unless it expressly reserves the right to exercise that power in a commercial agreement turns the concept of sovereignty on its head. Just because you sign a contract and you fail to reserve your sovereignty does not mean you gave it up. That's what they're saying here. You can pick and choose. If you choose to give up your sovereignty, as they did in the beginning, that's fine. But hey, you know, I mean, they are a government, and it's true they're a partner, but also, you know, they got a tax, right? Since they're a government. That was the Indian point of view. So this case basically says that you and I are sovereigns, and we can pick and choose. When we want to be a sovereign, we can go into contracts. So absolutely yes. I go in, and in one case, I mean, you know, I have all the trappings of citizenship where I allow it to be. But when push came to shove, and I got involved in a case, I started issuing orders in court, and I never got questioned. Never had a single order ever challenged. That's an interesting thing, too, because what I do is when I issue an order, I almost always also accompany it with an order to show cause. Show me why I'm wrong.